Hey guys, welcome to the Tuff Puff. This is Daniel speaking. Today I have for you an Entei deck profile. I just played this deck of cities, and I'll probably go over that too. So this is going to be, I guess, a city championship report / Entei deck profile. The deck was real sick. It was real fun. I smashed a lot of people with it, like, effortlessly. You know, it's that good of a deck. The only person who beat me at Cities was John with his Night March deck with 2 Megaphone. I guess he expected a bunch of Entei, and I don't blame him because Entei's the hypest deck right now. Everywhere on YouTube, you know, there's Entei deck coverage for the Entei deck. There is there are articles, you know, everywhere. People are posting their results. People are posting their lists. It's nothing new. It's like the hype deck right now. As far as the list, I'm using the list that Squeaky used in his recent video for Team Fish Knuckles, because that is the same list that Xander Bennett sent me, saying, "Hey Danny, why don't you try out the deck?" So it's pretty much the like the stock list that's going around right now. Everyone's, you know, using that list and then either expanding upon it by adding, you know, like some different cards, changing up the counts, or they're just you know, running the deck the way it is. So that's what I ended up doing. I ended up running the regular list, and here it is. So first off, we have 4 Entei. Entei deck, you're gonna need 4 Entei. Entei, what made it so beautiful was its alpha trait, or ancient trait, called Theta Double, that says this Pokemon can have up to 2 tools attached to it. So putting on 2 Assault Vests so that everyone's doing 80 less damage to you if they have a special energy attached. Putting on 2 Muscle Bands so the Heat Tackle's hitting 170 potentially by turn 1. Just made the card so, you know, attractive and appealing to whoever decided that they wanted to build this deck. So that's pretty good. Entei just is a 1 prize attacker. He's hard to get off the field, and he's, you know, just crazy strong. So he's definitely one of the greatest cards right now in Standard, in my opinion. And who would have thought, you know? Next we have 2 Charizards. Just backup for Entei. Most games that I played, though, I only ended up using 1 Charizard. Just, I guess, didn't have any need for both because you're attacking with Entei most of the time, and they can't knock out your Enteis very easily, and they can't really knock out your like your Charizard either most of the time, because you're either using it in the beginning and destroying their attackers, or you're using it in the end to end the game after an Entei gets knocked out. So 1, you know, is pretty much all I ended up using. 2, the only time I think that I played down 2 Charizard, I ended up losing that game. So there you have it. The idea for Charizard is that with an Assault Vest attached, you essentially have 220 HP against Night March. So they have to get 11 Pokemon in the discard, meaning that they're overextending. If they do that, then cool. Then you just lost your Charizard, but they just burned through their deck, and now all you have is 1 prize attackers that can tank a lot of damage. And if they don't do that, then they haven't knocked you out, and you get a prize with Wing Attack. And if you send up Charizard and you get the first attack off, then you're doing Wing Attack on 2 Night Marchers, potentially on Night March and a Bronzong, a Night Marcher and a Shaman. So you're getting 2 to 3 prizes guaranteed off of 1 Charizard most of the time. So that's what makes it so appealing. Another thing is that it takes 1 Muscle Band to do 170 instead of 2. And more often than not, you've used all your Muscle Bands on Enteis already, so it's kind of tough getting the Muscle Bands, you know, getting both of them for another Entei later on. So that's what Charizard's for. Next we have 3 Shaman EX. You start with it more often than not. So 3 is like the perfect number. Like, you start with 1, you prize 1, you still have 1 to get out, you know, all your attackers and stuff. Most of the time you only need 1, so that's a beautiful thing. To go a little in depth on Entei, if it has 2 Assault Vests attached, its first attack, Flame Screen, does 30, and you reduce 30 damage done to you on your next turn, well, on your opponent's next turn by attacks, meaning that with 2 assault vests attached with a flame screen, you're taking 110 less from any Night Marcher, any Seismitoad EX, any Giratina EX, from Gallade, anybody that has special energies attached. So Entei is just a huge fluffy tank, and that's pretty much the best thing about the deck is just that now that Assault Vest is a thing, he's preventing so much damage that I think now he's more viable than he was pre-breakthrough. Next we have 4 Blacksmith. This is the trainers. Blacksmith, you need it at 4. Any less, and you're gonna have trouble seeing it because we don't play Battle Compressor in here. We just play Scorched Earth, Acrobike, Trainer's Mail, etc. So for Blacksmith, even with all that, I still had trouble seeing it in a couple games if my hands were inconsistent enough. So I think 4 is perfect. The point is, like, you go attach DCE to one of your Entei or your Charizard turn 1. Blacksmith, 2 fires onto them. And then that's already a 150 to 170 on your first turn. Well, 130 to 170 on your first turn. Most games, so it's beautiful. 2 Lysander. There's not really much to say on that. It's pretty standard. 1 Giovanni Scheme. The whole point of this card in the deck is that you can't hit 180 with anything. So like it allows you to hit that 190, which is like perfect math for I believe Tyrantrum EX, Seismitoad EX, Lucario EX, so that's pretty good. And you can use it under Toad Lock to go like Flame Screen for 30. Next turn, Giovanni Heat Tackle for 150 to get the random knockout that they weren't expecting. So next we have just 1 Professor Sycamore. The point of 1 Sycamore is that like you're going to be blacksmithing or Lysandering or Giovanni's every turn. That any turn you're using Sycamore, you probably just have a bad hand. So like and it'll draw you out of it. So that's the point of 1 Sycamore. Next we have 4 VS Seeker, 4 Ultra Ball, 4 Acrobike. One interesting thing about Acrobike is that you can get Acrobike into 2 cards. One of them being a fire, one of them being a card you need. Discard the fire, get the card you need, and then blacksmith the fire out of your discard pile. So like that's a really cool little thing. Another thing we have is 4 Trainer's Mail, just to get out all your items and tools and stuff since you play so many. 4 Muscle Band because you need to find them and get them on, and since you're attaching 2 to an Entei, if you put 4 on 2 Enteis, then you have none left. So it's it's like if you ran 3, you wouldn't be able to hit 170 with 2 Enteis very easily, especially if some of them are prized. 3 Assault Vest, for the same reason as Muscle Band, except it's not necessary at a 4 of because you rarely use them. Like you use them for certain matchups, you use them to tank, like 2 of them to tank, and then they're never gonna knock you out if you have 2 of them attached most of the time. So you don't even really need a 3rd. 2 Professor's Letter, search out 2 fires, Ultra Ball them away. Get a Pokemon Blacksmith onto it. 1 Eco Arm. Shuffle back in those tools once they've gotten Megaphoned or once your Pokemon have been knocked out. Like it also is just a way to shuffle cards back into your deck so that you don't deck out, because this deck sometimes just burns through itself really fast. 4 Scorched Earth. Scorched Earth is like the last card you want to play, or the last ability that you want to use on your turn. Like you want to set up, because obviously if you Scorched Earth before you set up, most of the time you're drawing into 2 cards that are probably cards that you can't burn. So you want to like set up, play your Ultra Ball, set up again, Acrobike, Trainer's Mail, play your letters, whatever. Do your biggest setup that you can that turn, and then once that's over with and done, just Scorched Earth for 2 cards if you still need to dig, or if you need to put a fire in your discard. And there you have it. Like that's why we play 4, is so that you start out with Scorched Earth like most of the time, and also it's a counter stadium for Skyfield, and Raichu's like a tough-ish matchup. So yeah. Next we have 3, 6, 9 fires. 9 fires is so that you actually get them. And one game against Omar, a Florida player, in top 4 at the cities. I had 2 fires left in my deck, and I was doing this play where I was burning out all the rest of my energies except for those 2 fires, and he had a Lysander left. He ended up not using it, and I ended up winning the game. But had he used it, he could have sent up one of my bench Pokemon, probably the Charizard I had on my bench with no energy attached. I would have had to go attach, fire, retreat, and then win the game. So had I, first of all, had I not had the fires, had I only played 8, I would have ended up losing that game. Second of all, like, had I, been burning with Scorched Earth more often and stuff, I also would have lost the game. Like, there's a lot of reasons that I feel 9 fire is like the perfect number. Just like 8 dark and Yveltal is like the best number. People are playing 7, some people are playing 6, but 8, like, you always have it when you need it, and like that's the same case for fires in this deck. Lastly, for energies, we have 4 double colorless energy. Just go ahead and attach them first turn. Like, all of our 4 ofs are because we need them first turn. So this is the list. Pretty standard. Well, literally the standard list for it. Not much to really say about it, except that I feel it's the best deck in standard right now. Nothing really can guaranteed beat it. It's so good that you have to tech a Megaphone against it just to, have a solid chance against it. And I think decks like that are the decks to look out for, because if the deck is so strong that you need to change your list like that drastically, like with a Megaphone and a Xerosic, or like just change to a completely different deck because this deck is so good, then that means it's extremely powerful. Like, I mean, yeah. So as far as the cities went, I think it was 5 rounds of Swiss. My only loss in Swiss was to John round 2 because of his Night March. I ended up having to win out at 1-1 to go 4-1. Excuse me. To get first seed, going in the top 4. Top 4, I played Yveltal, Zoroark, Gallade. Game 1, I had like a bad hand. He had a bad hand. He drew out of his first, and then like ended up beating me. It was real close. Still. Game 2, I had a bad hand. I ended up winning somehow. That was the game where I had 2 fires left in my deck, as I explained earlier. Game 3, he went first. I got first turn Entei doing 170 on a Yveltal EX, and then that Entei like lasted me the whole game through as I just obliterated him. Like, so that tells you that even with a bad hand, this deck can still come back and just be like a force to be reckoned with. So that's pretty sick. And then top 2, I was playing against Kevin Kobayashi with Manectric EX, Crobat with 1 Seismitoad EX in his deck, and I ended up winning because I was just so fast and he was so slow, and Manectric's a strong attacker because it's 2 basic energies doing 120 with a Muscle Band 140, so Entei can't really do much against it, but it was still a close game for me, even like with that, like turn 1, if he starts an EX and goes first, I have a knockout pretty much most of the time, and then from there on out, it's just like me Lysandering up Shaman, knocking out Shaman, getting cheap prizes, or knocking out whatever the heck he has active. So yeah, I would recommend now running a Parallel City in this deck. Maybe go down to 3 Scorched, add 1 Parallel City. The reason is that late game, I've noticed that since they can't knock out your Entei, they go for your Shamans. And if I don't have Shamans on the field, then sorry, buddy, but you're stuck knocking out my extremely tanky Entei, which is very tough. So they'll exhaust all their resources, trying to knock out your Entei because you just discarded your own Shamans. And it's just awesome. And another thing is against Seismitoad EX, their attacks are doing 20 less damage because that's what Parallel City's other side does. before weakness and resistance. So their Quaking Punch that was 100 is now 60. If you have an Assault Vest attached, or if you've used Flame Charge, it's now 20, 30, or 0. So you know they're like 5-shotting you while you're 5-shotting them, but then you go 2 hits and then you go second attack, heat tackle, knockout, and then they've only racked up 60 on you, 60 to 0 if you're lucky enough. So so that's what makes Parallel City so good. Another thing I would add probably is either a Drudigon or that's about it. Just like a Drudigon, like take out a Charizard, go down to 1 Charizard and put in 1 Drudigon. The reason is that Drudigon, you can Lysander something like a Shaman with only you can Lysander something because you can just attach a DCE to Drudigon and do 90 like right off the bat, as long as one of your Pokemon has been knocked out, meaning that you don't have to blacksmith to it. And the fact that you have to blacksmith to every Pokemon in this deck pretty much to have them attack is like kind of like a big deal. Like, so either I would run Pokemon Catcher in the deck, you know, to be like kind of a Lysander effect and allow you to use your blacksmith that turn, or I would go for a Drudigon for that same reason. So if not, then just drop 1 Charizard, add in a Seismitoad EX just for Night March, because Seismitoad with Assault Vest versus Night March is crazy good. And yeah, that's about it. So thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know how you've been doing in cities. Go ahead and keep discussing decks in the comments section. Let us know what you'd like to see us profile. And yeah, just keep being wonderful viewers. So thanks again, guys, and I'll see you next time.